What's up, guys? Rift of Nations session 10. Whew, just wrapped up. It's like midnight now. But I wanted to share with you guys what I thought was going to happen, then what actually happened. Because right now I did a purposeful playtest experiment on my group. I started the session off with like, guys, hey, you know what you're getting into here. This is a lot of the stuff I do for the channel and a lot of stuff that I'm playtesting. I use my own groups as playtesters because I want to feel these things that I'm giving you guys advice and tips on. Alcanner's Almanac is what I'm working on right now, and this travel system overhaul that I'll be releasing on the main channel here soon as well. But all of this coming together, I want to playtest these things. I want to try things that are in my head like, oh, this would be fun. I want to see if it really is, because a lot of stuff might sound fun up here, but practically at the table might not be. And it could be some for some players but not others, and I have a very wide range of players, and I'm excited to see what each of them say individually away from each other. That's one of the things whenever I collect feedback from my group, I ask them individually apart from each other so they can't corrupt or taint the data in some way of their feedback. So anyway, here's what I thought was going to happen, which you'll see. They're going to get things prepared and talk to Commander Broadstone to get ready to go on this stealth investigation mission. This search and rescue, they find out because there are two NPCs that are kidnapped inside of this thing, have been taken. Two of the spies for the Tech Nation have been scouting out this whole Grasslands Nation base, and they got captured and kidnapped and taken. Little do the players know, one of the two of them is a spy, a double agent, and is actually working with the Grasslands Nation and is not a good person. And all the intel that they gave the group is all wrong, but I'm getting ahead of myself. So I thought that they were going to check in with Commander Broadstone and get right into business and get on out there and just get on the road and start traveling. And then I had 4 different travel systems I was going to throw at them, because this is like 2 weeks worth of travel as far as in-game time goes. It would be because in my worlds, I don't test things out by mileage or anything like that. They get so crunchy and all that kind of stuff. So I'm like, okay, it is days worth of travel, and a days of worth of travel is 8 hours. So if I say it's a day, this next town is a day's travel away, then it's what a normal paced person could do in a day's travel. Just people traveling this way with purpose. Here we go, right? How far could you travel in 8 hours? That is 1 day's travel, right? If you have a horse, double that. If you were lugging around a whole bunch of stuff and have other reasons or extraneous circumstances, half that. Super simple, done, right? So I explained to them that this thing is what was it, 14 days away. Oh my goodness, right? So I was like, this is a great opportunity to test out different travel systems. So that is not something I want you to do with your groups. Is like, all right, guys, we're gonna do 4 different types of travel here. If your groups are down for it and y'all want to experiment with stuff, by all means. And if you have a group that supports you doing that, that's a great group. That's awesome. Keep that group, Dungeon Masters. But I told my groups, like, guys, I want to test out a bunch of different travel things, and I want to get you guys feedback. So honestly, take that to your group and throw that down and say, here's method 1. Here's how we're going to do this. It's going to work like this. Again, keep in mind your group if they like this, or you can just wait till this video comes out, wait till the resource comes out, and then pick your favorite. So anyway, I was going to start going through the travels, and hopefully at the end of the session, we'd end right at the place. Boom. That's what I estimated to happen, right? And my end wrap up would be, as you approach the destination where they're going to, you arrive, and that's what will end the session. That's what I wanted to happen. But here's what actually happened. Here we go. So this was the travel experiment. I had my different method. The first one was just fast travel. I'm not counting that. And the other 4 methods was a day-by-day system, a random encounter role system where each person has a different role: defender, scout, navigator, and stuff. And then method number 3, but it's labeled 4. It's okay. It makes sense in my head. Is just an A to B check. It's a much faster version of it and a little bit more description. And then the 5th one is a skill challenge type thing. A very quick one. That's it. So let's see what they actually ended up getting to. So the meeting with the Commander Broadstone, this whole thing of I had all this meeting, didn't even happen for a little while. They had a bunch of stuff they wanted to do. So that's props to my players. And it was really cool to see them like, can I try this? I want to try this. I want to do this. I want to do that. Because I told them whenever they got back to the thing, they were about to head off to a big mission. And I was like, okay, this is a mistake I made earlier on in Dungeon Mastering, is I didn't give enough downtime. So I was like, guys, there's going to be about a week of downtime. before everybody's ready to head out and gather the forces and head off to your mission. It's going to be about a week. I just want to see what they would do and see. And this is kind of a pulse check for my group too. Do they like downtime? Do they have stuff to do? Did somebody just have nothing to do? And it's finding that balance, right? But they loved it. They did so many cool things and they just kept doing stuff. Like, somebody goes, we're going around the table. I was like, you guys just, whatever you guys want to accomplish in this thing. And then we just kept going and going and going. And it was really cool. And a lot of time was spent in downtime. There's a lot of cool things happening. People are working on whips, and the barbarian wants to be able to eventually is a Warforged barbarian. He wants to be able to shoot his wrist like a grappling hook and like use it like almost like a whip, right? And so he's like trying to practice with a whip in his hand, and he's doing some really interesting stuff to try and push the limits of what his character can do. Super awesome. And then there's a cool other role play moments where different people are talking with NPCs that they want to go talk with or get stuff prepared for or set up or all this kind of stuff. It was really cool. So that took a lot more time than I thought, which is great and awesome. Cool. I'm down for it because they're engaging in their characters and the world around them. Love it. So then they finally went to the meeting with Broadstone. I had all my notes here for all the different stuff that he had, and then set them off to report to Captain Kitchener, who's that real stern, her nickname is Captain Bitchner. So, you know what I'm saying? Then she gave them a real quick, and I put them on the spot. I was like, she would not have it. She would just be in and out, like, hurry up, what do you need? So as soon as they said that they went to go see her, I was like, you walk in, and I was like on them. I was like, what do you want? You get one thing to say it. You got 3 seconds to say it. 1, 2, and they were like scrambling, and I was like, nope, too late. What do you want? And then it was, so they had this moment, if they asked for something, they could get it within reason, like a feasible thing that someone from the military would be able to give your character. And so then the person was like, can I have some gold? And they're like, all right, fine, here's 15 gold. Next person, what do you want? And they're like, so it was really fun to just like give them, I'm already giving them stuff. It's not, they can't get hurt from this, but I wanted to really put them on the spot, make them think on their toes, see what they'd say. And there were some funny moments and stuff with that too. And then she sent them to the alchemy shop person. And the alchemy shop person's guy's name's Topper. Oh, I have it right here. So this is my notes for Topper. Alchemy shop, Topper, this is the person's name, in brackets is Back to the Future guy. So I was gonna talk like this and have my eyes would be really big and I would get excited and breathe a lot and kind of talk out of the sides of my mouth. Okay, what are we doing here? And I was just like really, really excited to see them, like the Back to the Future guy. And that's all I needed for my little roleplay character moment. And he gave them a choice between getting a level 1 healing potion or a mystery alchemical concoction. So it was really cool. And they all chose the mystery potion. And so I have a little table for a mystery potion. It's a D20 table and it's a random effect. It's really fun. But one of the players was like, I want to try and steal a potion. And I was like, okay, interesting. Slide a hand check. And the other player was like, oh, I want to try and help distract him. I was like, all right, well, give me your distraction. What's your distraction? Tell me what it is. And he said what it was. And he was going to like try and actually, hey, these potions, how do they work? What do they do? What's going on? And then I had to make a deception check, rolled really low. And these are random potions. He doesn't even know how they work. He just makes them and he doesn't know how they work, which he already described earlier. So he goes to steal the potion right after the question's asked, thinking that he'd get drawn in. He's like, I don't know how they work. It's random. Looked over to literally watch him grab the potion. And he's like, me basically telling him that he failed his sleight of hand check because he'd already made the check. And he failed the sleight of hand check. He's like, I drink the potion really quick. I was like, oh, wow. So that was a really funny moment where he just drinks the potion. I rolled on the D20 table and it was an invisibility potion. And he just goes invisible. And he's like, oh, data. I'll take the data. Take the data. Write it down. Write it down. And so he starts writing down and he goes, as he writes it down, can I just take more potions? And I was like, oh my gosh, that was really, so they all came together. They ended up getting away with 3 more random potions. Super fun, super awesome. And funnily enough, it came back full circle here in a minute. So all of this was just fun to take, and it took a while, like half the session, they hadn't even left yet. I was like, we were having a lot of fun just kind of getting everything set up, which is part of what I would have skipped forward as the old DM version of myself, the younger, I guess, DM. I would have been like, all right, cool, ready to go, and we're on. Here's the meeting, and we're going to travel, and we're gone, and we just fast forwarded through all this. So it was cool. Heading off to travel, they moved on out with the main forces to go out to a spot, and then they separated and branched off from there. There's a couple other subtleties. I'm not trying to give a full on play-by-play You'll eventually get that if we can ever grow this thing to be a live play thing where I record the sessions. That'd be cool. I got to hire an editor for that and stuff. So, but anyway, they then go into the first phase of travel. This is a section of travel, a D20 random travel table, where they roll on a D20 table. It's inspired by Critical Role, or of course, obviously, plenty of people run D20 encounter systems. But I was watching a bunch of different things from Campaign 2 of Critical Role, and they were in the traveling through snowy areas. No spoilers or anything. Traveling through snowy areas, and they just roll a D20 and see what happens that day. So I had my version of it, which is I'm going to be making a whole video on this, so don't worry about it. But it was a table of something good could happen, something bad could happen, an encounter, a good encounter, bad, I don't know. So I told the players a natural 1 is super bad. Oh my God, don't roll a 1. A natural 20 is super awesome. Holy crap, you did it. Wow, this is going to be great. And everything else in the middle is random. So you have no idea if it's going to be good or bad. Everything else is truly random, because when they see that number, I don't want them to have an inclination of if it's good or bad, right? So, that is the spectrum, and here we go. And just as a little bonus tip, for that 1, it should be an obviously bad thing. They're going to get attacked by this massive bird creature. It's obviously a bad thing, so you don't have to like hide it behind the natural 1. A natural 20, they're going to find a bunch of magic items in a secret stash. Oh my God, that's super cool, right? So let them play into that. Everything else, be on your toes. So first player rolled, and it was a slowdown, and so I described that they had to kind of go wide around to kind of sneak away from the rest of the group, because they were off on a stealth mission, so they had to kind of take their time doing a wide arc, moving around. Second person rolled, it was another setback, and I described it as weather, bad weather day, super bad to kind of do, moving on to the next person. Third person rolled, and they rolled a 19, which was landing on a good witch. A good witch found for some brew. She has some concoctions. I made it all up on the fly as far as what the switch was. All I had, actually, let's go to the table. Here's travel, the roads of the militia, different little role play moments. I ended up skipping through all of this. It just felt like we spent a lot of time doing role play stuff in the game, like in the actual city. They were doing a bunch of different role play stuff and a bunch of different fun, engaging stuff, socially engaging stuff. And this, I was like, I baked this in here to give that to them, but I felt like they already had it, so I skipped over literally all of this. Didn't even talk about it. Did talk about all this. There was some more stuff checking in on some things, trying to put them on the spot of, can they hide that they're on a secret mission, and everyone else can they act cool about like where they're going. And then here we go, random tables. Here we go, bang. So here we go. This is the one, is get a rock, a giant bird creature is going to attack them. And then they got a 19. Here's all I had. Wandering potion lady, crazy potions and healing remedies. She's a shifter. I did not even do anything having to do with her being a shifter. So I completely dropped the ball on that. I just now read that. Oops. And then she acts like an injured direwolf with a broken leg to test the party, cast haste on the group, and they gain a days of travel. So I didn't do the act like an injured direwolf with a broken leg to test the party. I didn't do that either. Oops. Oh, well, there was an old woman that the day before, it was a bad weather day. So I described, there's this strange, the trees seem to bend forward and like arch together, almost like in Survivor, where they interlace with the leaves with each other to form some sort of unnatural canopy. And underneath, it's this small old woman that's just waving out to you guys. And oh, interesting. And she called them over, and there's like, she's brewing stuff in the ground. I'm making all this stuff up. They're like, oh, how are you okay? Like, and I just described her house. Her house looked like it was cut in half. I don't know where that came from. I just made it up. It was cut in half, and it's just strange. And they're like, what? And I just was going, weird things for this old woman who's basically a good hag or a good witch or whatever. And they're like, how does your hut not get wet from this thing? And she called these birds, and I was like, how would she cast spells? I don't know. This is old weird bird lady. I just pictured a raven bird lady in the park, right? From that one movie, Home Alone, I think it is. So all these ravens fly in, land on her shoulder, and she points up there and goes, ha ha, like she made like a bird noise. All of these birds fly up towards the canopy over the top of the thing, and then explode. And they'll just burst into feathers. And there's a dome of like an invisible wall of rain, and it shears the rain off both sides. And that's how she casts her spells, summoning birds and exploding them. They're fake birds. They're conjured birds. They're not real birds. They're just, make-believe birds. They're make-believe birds, and they're actually a magically conjured bird. So it's not, anyway, for any animal worries right there of birds. So just really weird. They were all like, whoa, this lady's crazy, which is all I wanted to get across. And she, very interestingly, one of the players, the artificer, Clara, she goes, the witch was describing that she has these potions and concoctions and stuff. And that's just what I had written down. She's a weird potion lady. But they just left a potion person who gave them random potions. And one of the players, I never made that connection, but the player's like, oh, hey, can you tell us what these potions do? And I was like, oh my God, they're going to be able to get to identify these random potions. Wow. So I was like, you know what? I'll identify half of them, but I want to keep the curiosity for fun's sake and for my own fun's sake at the table. Like, yeah. So this old lady immediately gained the personality trait of fun and mischievous to make it make sense that she's only going to identify half of them, and then the rest of them are mystery potions. So that was really cool. And then she sent them off, and she cast a haste spell on all of them, giving them faster travel. And then they left and went on their way. Really cool. And there's some other interactions there. But it was a really cool little social encounter with them that they just really, it was really fun to do with all the birds. And one of them asked for a bird to send a message to somebody. So then the bird is now in flight off towards somebody's home. The bird's going to land, open its mouth, say the message like a speaker of what he said, and then explode. So I made a little note of that for that to happen. But that was a 19 on the travel table. Cool. And the next thing that was rolled was a 10, which I think was, it was 11. A magical salesman he tries to kidnap a party member. It was a magical sale. All I had there is a magical salesman, and he's going to try and kidnap a party member. Whoever purchases something first is going to try and kidnap them. So I made up a bunch of magic items. I pulled out my butt, just like saying like a ring of scorching ray, a glove of gust, extreme gust. It was like a wind spell. But all this person is he's an illusion caster, and he was using illusion magic to make magic items look magical and then try and sell it to people. So I could go into the whole thing. Okay, I guess we will. One of the players walked away and cast detect magic and walked back up to the group, and all of the items looked mundane. But the spellcaster or the salesman said that has all of these items inside of a dome, making them dormant so people can't take them away. And they said, well, show me what you got then. And so he took the ring outside of the dome, casted magic, and showed that it was a fire when it was all an illusion, and then walked back into the dome. So whenever the player cast detect magic and came up, I was like, none of these things magical, but the stagecoach is giving off some sort of abjuration, which is weird. Abjuration, which is weird, but none of these seem magical. But he did have an anti-magic like shell that he said was around, so maybe it checks out. So he's like, okay. So that was still suspicious, but in a real gray area there. But if he had watched him do it, and he would have seen then, but he didn't see them cast with the illusion. He did this afterwards. So one of the players wanted to buy a wand of teleportation, and so they're like, yeah. So I was like, come on in. You got to come back to let's buy it back here and make all the transactions in the stagecoach. So I lured the player, the artificer Clara, I lured her into the stagecoach, and I said, all right, here's the wand of teleporting, but you hold on the wand and give me the money at the same time. And so as soon as she grabbed the wand, I said, make a wisdom saving throw. And she got hold person cast on her as the horses take off in the stagecoach, and the stagecoach shuts and seals with an abjuration ward around it and takes off with the player inside. And the other three players like, wah! And then they went and took after it. So little chase scene erupted out of nowhere, and they each had a chance to do something. It was super cool. Hand axe to the wheel to break it. The wild magic barbarian rolled on his wild magic surge table, and he had lightning shoot out in all directions around him, hitting his friend and the stagecoach, slowing it down enough for the warlock nature druid type character to summon a vine up to wrap up the horses and hold the horses in place, not attack the horses, but just hold them in place and just completely stop this guy. And he's like, and he tried to take everything and run, but then they hacked him down. But what they didn't know is I described one of the first attacks that landed on him. He's like flailing around and he's like, and his hands are swirling all over the place. And I described it in a very haphazard, oopsie doopsie way, but he's casting illusion magic. And then when the final blow landed, I described that this blood splattered out of him and he hit the ground, which was illusion magic of him making this grand display of this huge hit. He's like, and then he hits the ground, goes limp, and he's going full blown theater mode, acting, playing dead, not moving, and cast a spell on himself to make him look like he's catatonic, which is a spell that I love. False death or whatever it's called. Anyway, false life. No. There's a spell for it. I'm sure they'll be in the comment section now. But he cast that on himself, and so he's fine. They left him there. They poked at him and everything, and they just left him there. And so he's going to be out in the world now, so it'll be fun to kind of bring him back around at some point. I need a skeezy character to try and scam somebody, and they see him again. That'll be fun. But that ended the session. That's where the whole session ended. There is those 4 days of travel. So from the extra time spent in town and the extra little encounters they had across, there we go. And this is all me hacking through and doing some play tests on travel. I'm going to talk to each of them and work on some things about maybe how to speed up travel, how to, but I think it was super fun. Everyone had a blast. I loved how it went, how the travel went. I'm just making notes on good and making notes on bad, whatever happens in this little fun playtest situation that I'm doing in my own campaign. They are the willing guinea pigs of my crazy homebrew DM mind. So that's what it is. Next session's going to be the rest of travel to get them there, and then we'll see what happens. So stay creative. Think outside the box. Peace.